Hi guys, welcome back to the next episode of the SamDjanShow. Today we're looking at the rise of PlayStation, so let's get into it. Welcome back to the next episode of the SamDjanShow. Talk about pop culture. Today talk about rise PlayStation. Don't get to subscribe and click the notification bell. As I'll go. So I'm gonna go through all the PlayStation consoles. So I'm gonna tell you how I thought about all of them. So let's get into it. So in 1994, it all started with PlayStation, the original one, also known as PS1, or PSX as its code name. But this was released on December 3rd, 1994, and it was part of the fifth generation console, and it competed with the Nintendo 64 and the Sega Saturn. And I never owned a PlayStation. I never owned the original one, so I don't know if it was good or not. Anyway, here is it. It doesn't have the controller, but you probably know the controller. It was the one that didn't have the analog sticks to it. But here's the original PlayStation, and it also had the the PS Zone one, which was PS1, or I think it's called PS Zone or whatever. It was basically a redesign of it, but it was like slimmer, and it also came with the controller that had analog sticks. So I never owned this one too. So also between this we had a Pocket Station, which the Pocket Station was it was basically it was a video game console. It was released exclusively in Japan, January 23rd, 1999, and it was kind of like a Game Boy. You can play games on it. However, it discontinued 2002. However, you can access it on the PS Vita. You can still use it on the PS Vita. They revived it, allowing you to use the games. So yeah, I think you're probably not familiar with this because this was only in Japan. And then after that, we have PlayStation 2, which this was huge when it came out. I think it's the best-selling video game of all time. Made 155 million. So this was released March 4th, 2000, and yeah, this was good. I think everyone's familiar with this one and the first one, to be honest. No, I never owned a PlayStation 2. I think I saw it one time, but yeah. So that's the PlayStation 2. Also, we had a slim version, which was basically the same version, but it was a slimmer one. You might have owned either one of these, either, so I don't know. And then shortly after this, we had the PSX. Now you're probably thinking, what is a PSX? Now the PSX it was basically a digital video recorder. So basically, it was a PlayStation 2, but a video recorder was integrated into it. Now you probably haven't heard of this because it was only released in Japan, and it was released December 13th, 2003, and so yeah, the pause because of the poor sales, Sony prompted the council plans to release it outside of Japan. And so yeah, so you probably haven't heard of this because this was only released in Japan. So yeah, so it was basically a PlayStation 2 with a DVR recorder. That's the PSX. Or shortly after this, we had the PSP, also known as the PlayStation Portable, which was a handheld device. Now I never had a PSP. My brother had a PSP, and I think it was a 3000. I don't think I think this is the 1000. He had the 3000, which they're basically the same, the 2000, 3000. There was a PSP Go, which I did have, which that one didn't have any games in it. You couldn't put games in it. And there was an E1000 as well. This was released December 12th, 2004. This was their first handheld console, and it was part of the seventh generation. I also forget PlayStation 2 was part of the sixth generation. So yeah, it had a hard time competing with Nintendo's PlayStation, which yeah. So then we had the PS Vita, which I think PS Vita was good. My brother also had this, but the PS Vita, I feel like it didn't have, or PlayStation Vita, it was released December 17th, 2011. It ended in 2019. So yeah, it was discontinued. The system is grown as a commercial phone video game history and was significantly outsold by the Nintendo 3DS. No direct successor was released by Sony through 2023. A similar remote play, Project Q, was announced for release by the end of the year for PlayStation 5. So I don't know why it did not do well. I don't know why. So yeah, I feel like the PS Vita, I feel like it was a good console. I just feel like it didn't catch on. But I feel like the Switch was pretty much came, and then when Switch came, I think people just didn't care for this movie. They didn't care for this game. Sorry. And yes, that's the PS Vita. Then in 2006 we had the PlayStation 3. Now this was the third console, and I think this was part of the seventh generation. This was released November 11th, 2006. This competed with Microsoft Xbox 360 and Nintendo's Wii. And this was significant because this was the first console to use Blu-ray disc technology as its primary store medium. And it was the first one to integrate social gaming services, including the PlayStation Network. And yeah, so this is the first one to have a wireless controller because PlayStation 1 had a wired controller. This one have a wireless one, but no. So um, oh yeah, so the PS3. So that was that's the PS3. Now the PS3 had a hard time competing because it was going up against the Xbox 360, which I don't think Xbox 360 won it. The war between them. So I accidentally showed you the super slim one. And this is actually the original one for these ones. So you see how big it was. And then we had the slim, which was here. Which actually my friend actually had this one, which I vaguely remember this one because I remember my best friend had this one. And there was a super slim, which is the one that you could slide the thing and then you could put the disc in there. And then shortly after this we had the PlayStation TV, which this one was it wasn't necessarily a console, but it was kind of just like um, a micro console, which you can just use. We could use a DualShock 3 or 4. It's possible with PS Vita games. I never had a PlayStation TV, so then we had PlayStation 4, which was released 2013. Now I remember this because I had this 2015. I had the original one. This is the original one you're seeing right now. That's the original one, which I think is, and this one competed with the Xbox One, and also competed with Nintendo Wii and the Switch. This was I got this in 2015. It's sort of I think this is honestly better than the Xbox One, to be honest. And yeah, um so that's PlayStation 4. Then after that we had the Slim, which was a slimmer version of it, which I never had. I think my brother had this one. And then we had the Pro, which was, I think it was, you can play things in 4K, and it had a new controller, so it had like a blue light on it. And then so shortly after that we had the PlayStation Classic, which I have right here, which is basically a miniature version of the PlayStation. And then after this we had the PlayStation 5, which is the current one we've had, the current PlayStation, and it's going up against Xbox Series X and S, and the ninth generation video game consoles. And I currently have it right now. So yeah, so that's the PlayStation 5. I used to have PlayStation. I had one. I sold it to get a PlayStation 5, and I honestly think it's better than Xbox Series S and X. I'm a huge Xbox fan, and yeah, that's pretty much PlayStation. That is the rise of PlayStation. So yeah, so guys, thank you for watching my video. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.